Hey neighbors, it's time for another episode of Honor the Past and Plan for the Future with Don Clark, who's sitting right next to me.
Hello everyone.
And then we got somebody else here. You want to introduce him, Don?
Yes, we have with us Mr. Joey Baker. Go ahead, Joey, say hello.
Hey, happy to be here.
And so Joey, how did you meet Don?
You know, I ran into Don at kind of a small group meeting where Don was speaking to a group of people about his platform for the city board. So I'd actually not met Don in person at all until, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
I've been working in town for 4 years, a resident for 2, and just out of the blue said, you know what, I'm going to get invested in the city board election this year. And
Cool.
said, well, I'm just going to put nose to the ground and see what's out there. And Don was our first opportunity I had to really shake hands and meet a candidate.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you've been here for 4 years.
Well, so I grew up in Lincoln originally, just south of Siloam. And so I've come here a handful of times, mostly just to drive the long trek to Walmart, grab some groceries, played middle school ball at the gymnasium, across from where I work. But I came to Siloam originally as a student, physical therapist, at Holly Street, and I was in grad school, so I'm a physical therapist. And I was in grad school, came for a student rotation, thought this is a really nice town, and of course the company and the culture at my business is what attracted me. And then when we came back to Northwest Arkansas, middle of the pandemic, we were in St. Louis for a few years, and we said, let's go back to Siloam and see if there's any opportunity there. It's close enough to home, and looked around, settled in Rogers for a few years, and then as soon as the job opportunity at Holly Street opened up, we put down roots here. So
Great.
Who is we, Joey?
My wife Emily and I, and our daughter Eden. Yeah, well, it was Emily and I when we first came, and then we've since had Eden. She's 16 months old now.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we're in the meat of it.
I've got an 18-month-old.
There you go.
So we'll
So you
see.
feel
We'll
my
see
pain.
we'll see you at the park.
Yeah, you understand the bags.
Pain,
under
the
our
joy,
eyes.
all of it. Yeah.
So we put down roots at Holly Street, and we're going to be here for 20 plus years. I mean, that's the long-term plan. So I figured now is the time to get invested and look to the future.
Great. I think that's awesome. I think a lot of people, want to get plugged in, but maybe just don't know how, in my opinion. And there's a lot of opportunities out there that maybe we need to try to highlight a little bit better. So we're going to, this is informal. We're just going to kind of have a conversation, and kind of what I'd be curious to know, Joey, is what are some things that you and your family love about Siloam currently?
Sure. We find ourselves down at Bob Henry a lot. We walk around the track. We near my work, of course. We walk through JBU and hit up the trails here and there, and then we'll go to City Lake quite a bit. A lot of it's just obviously built around our toddler.
Right.
But I think Siloam it's a good place where you can go and enjoy downtown, even if you have no real reason to be there. Just I'm gonna stroll around, like pop into a shop, kind of thing like that. So I mean that's what we love the most, I think. But the Homegrown Festival, one of our favorite events, because I think it really speaks to the core of we as small business owners trying to support other small business owners, and looking at people that have authentic, like genuine crafts and things like that. I think those are probably our two biggest categories that we enjoy about the town.
Great.
And so you've got an 16-month-old. So you had said that you're really thinking about all of your activities revolving around what your kid might like.
Yeah.
And so what are things that make you feel like this is a community-centered place that's going to be really great to raise my kid?
Well, I mean, the investment in WOCA was a big win in my mind, right, as well as just the investment in City Lake. Because you go there and you see, hey, someone thought about someone's investment in mountain biking, someone thought about someone's investment in kayaking, and it doesn't have to be outdoor recreation. I mean, that's our forte for sure. But you go to Bob Henry and you say, oh, someone's thinking about a small child in a swing. Someone's thinking about pickleball court. Someone thinking about updating the skate park. And those are things that say, like, the city board, or at least someone in charge, is investing in, like, our children, saying, in the future, we want them to have these amenities. We want them to have these opportunities. Even educational grants, investments in the new high school, new school administration building. You're thinking that's looking to the future.
Yep.
And that's something that, until I was a father, you don't really have that perspective, very much here and now, my needs, and that may develop and change as I go, but that's a big part of our life now, for sure.
What would you kind of say, now that you've been here, working for 4 and living for 2, what are some things that you feel like maybe they're missing from Siloam?
I mean, I think what takes us out of Siloam, right? And usually it's either entertainment or meals, right? Or shopping. Now, not to say that we haven't gone to Beals and gotten a lot of good stuff, and I spent probably half my income at like Lowe's.
Right. Right. When Joey told us that he was from Lincoln, but growing up in Lincoln, they came to Siloam, right, to shop. Having worked in the city and done economic development, one of the things we started doing back in 2015, 2016 was telling our story. Who is Siloam? And what we found is our trade area was a lot larger than what our population was. So our population at the time may have been, 15, 16,000, but our trade area was closer to 50,000. And that's because of what Joey was alluding to. It goes south to Lincoln, as far north to Gravette, quite a ways into eastern Oklahoma, and then east almost to Tawnytown. And from that trade area, at the time of us getting the data, we were leaking close to $138 million. And what that means is that dollars that were originated from our trade area went outside of the trade area to find things that we didn't have here, which I think is critical when we talk about things that can be done for Siloam. Part of that platform is, how do we grow our sales tax? I think right now we're very, very dependent on utility sales, and that's just sheerly on the backs of our citizens. Meaning that if we have any dip in reserves or we're behind, the only thing we really got is to raise those rates to try to keep up. Or you can be creative and figure out ways to grow the city and grow in such a manner with those things that people are looking for that would help plug those gaps by increasing your sales tax revenue. So Siloam is what I would probably call maybe currently a secondary market. And what that means is you got Fayetteville, Bentonville, and Rogers. We're not equal to those when we come to a market. And I would probably say years ago, a city like Conway was a secondary market when it came to Little Rock. But Conway is a college town. They got intentional, many years ago about how do they place their stake in the ground, because the growth was coming. It was going to happen, but how did they dictate it versus letting it happen? And Joey, you went to school in Conway.
That's
correct?
Right.
And your wife is
also from Conway.
From Conway. So you were there. You kind of witnessed some of that. What are some things that, and I think we know some mutual people, just from the in our conversation. Folks that are in Conway that are involved in planning and economic development. What are some things that you heard or saw from them that kind of helped them set their mark?
Sure. Well, I feel like the feedback that I've gotten just picking the brains of those leaders, right, that have kind of built that culture at Conway. They mentioned creating a culture, a community vibe, right? A place where people want to enjoy and recreate. And you start there, and if you don't have that in basic element, you're going to struggle to attract people to put down roots in the city, right? So if you don't have this recreation opportunities, shopping opportunities, parks and recreation, these kind of community, family-oriented activities that people want to go and travel to be, to participate in, then they're going to struggle to say, well, I would like to put a business here, or send my kids to school here, or go to school here, right? And that the university market is a huge component of trying to get and attract people and young talent to come to Conway, and I think that's a huge benefit that their market has, as young professionals come to UCA and then they realize, wow, Conway's a really great town. I'm going to stay here.
I think, Joey, you go back to something when you say they created this cultural community vibe. That speaks to unity. I spoke about this recently when somebody asked me, why am I running for the board? It's not about status. It's not about any type of power that I think I may gain from that, because I understand it. If I'm successful and elected, I'm just one vote. But it's to try to bring that unity back and focus on what's best for Siloam.
Joey, what are the ways that you felt like this feels like home, that you have that warm, fuzzy community feeling?
I think Siloam's the right size where you can walk down Main Street and run into a few people you know. But then you can also run into a few people you don't know, shake some hands, and meet new people, and kind of have that gradual trade-off of seeing the same people you enjoy and you feel at home and safe with, but then also branching out and meeting you, Don, 3 weeks ago, and saying, hey, tell me about your life and what you're doing here, and trying to invest and integrate. And I think just that variety of people, that diversity is what makes me happy about the future of Siloam.
Right.
I'm surprised we haven't bumped into each other at Lowe's before. Maybe we have, and we just didn't know it.
Trust me, we have bumped into each other. Right?
Right? It's that small of a town. Exactly.
It's
And I love that about Siloam. And I think, we can continue to have that in Siloam if we are intentional about the way we grow. Right? I think it's going to take some intentionality in that piece.
We have gotten to know Dawn a little bit in previous chats. And so, yes, please tell us, what is something that would surprise other people to learn about you? Oh,
man, that's far too many things for me to choose from, right? Because I feel like
are you a man of mystery?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I feel like my educational aspirations have changed a lot. And I first went into undergrad thinking, I'm going to be a music major. And so music was in my background. And I think you mentioned that you were a drummer, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So music was in my background. And then just kind of sidestepped and said, yeah, I'm just going to go to grad school for physical therapy and see what happens. And then suddenly, I'm getting asked, you want to be a partner in a business? And so I think the thing that surprises people most is when I go home, de-stress, sit down with Emily and Eden and just jam out on the piano, Something that really none of my patients at work would know. So there you go. How about that?
Wow. So the work that you do at Holly Street Physical Therapy, talk a little bit about the services, because Holly Street's been around a long time.
Sure.
And I think it's important to have those type of services here. I think we're fortunate for that if you're needing those services, you're not having to traverse to other parts of Northwest Arkansas.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that and some of the people that you come across.
Sure.
Especially traversing to something like physical therapy, which if you need a physical therapist, you don't want to traverse too far.
Exactly.
I remember going to Holly Street when I was in high school because my sweet father had been in track and field and did hurdling. And he's like, Kelsey, you should try doing hurdling. I'm like, okay, Dad, let's go. And so he trained me out at the old high school, running around. And I think the first time that we went out practicing that I went over maybe the third hurdle, and I came down so hard I couldn't even sit down. I was so hard. And Holly Street made me well again, and here I stand before you.
Okay, there you go. Well, I can't take credit for your treatment in the past. I've been here for 4 years, and Steve, Stinnett founded Holly Street 91, I want to say. Started in a couple different versions, and at one point was downtown, and at one point was in Fayetteville, and brought it back to Siloam when they built the community physician group over there. Yeah, medicine is growing in Siloam, and it's growing fast, really as a product of population increase.
Yeah.
And as a product of population aging. So we're kind of at this inflection point where we're going to have more, and I don't know the stat, I'm not even going to attempt at it, but the population over 65 is growing so quickly that medicine is going to continue to explode over the next, probably decade, if not more.
So I met with someone yesterday, and they were throwing out the stats of the population aging. My mind was blown. My mind was blown.
Just these generational trends and population data that you track back to, World War II and baby boomers, obviously how we get our generational nicknames. But, in medicine, the thing that I think is the benefit, the beauty of a clinic like ours, and not just ours, but any of the physical therapy clinics, any of the primary medicine clinics, specialty clinics in town, it's just the fact that when people come in, there's really no labels or titles or political affiliations. Inevitably it creeps in, but people are there because they're hurting, right? And you need to treat them as that individual. Like you're on paper, you're a condition, right? And you're a number in our clinic, but you're also like that person. You're not who you were, your political affiliation, you're not your personal beliefs, and all that kind of is left at the door while we look at your hurt knee, Kelsey, right? Because this hurdle scenario.
The knee, the back, I was hurting all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
Well,
and it's why I'm so passionate about kind of a nonpartisan leadership culture. It's what we run every day with the patient. A patient walks through the door, we could be at complete odds as far as our personal beliefs, but I would never treat you differently. In that scenario, your insurance coverage may be at a financial disadvantage for our clinic, right? And that's a whole another conversation that we're not going to get into today.
You're just there to get them better,
right? But I can't treat you differently, and not only am I legally, but I'm morally obligated to treat you the exact same way.
In previous, so we decided that we're going to do a game, and so for all of you who are attentively listening, I'm going to make today's gong moment here. The shout out to Holly Street. Our secret word to get a t-shirt today is Holly Street. So if you want to enter to win a free t-shirt, DM us with the secret word Holly Street.
Holly Street.
There you go.
So I think, again, conversations are important. And back to the point of community, I can't stress that enough, of people coming together and learning one another. And then you it makes you drop your defenses, I think, is what happens. Because I was, people may be shocked by hearing this, but I don't know that me and Kelsey agree on everything, but we are able to still have a friendship and relationship and not be at each other's throats about it. It's not that she has to go over to her foxhole and I go jump in my foxhole and we don't conversate because we don't see eye to eye on certain things. Mm-hmm. I think it's important because she can hear from me on why I see things the way I see them, my viewpoint, and I can hear from her. And again, we can respectfully agree on certain things, and we can respectfully disagree on certain things, but still, ultimately, we're both sitting here today because we care about and love Siloam, nothing more. Mm-hmm. That is, I think that's important as we go through this political season. Let's not be like every other place. Let's be different in Siloam about how we navigate through these things and still be who you are to your core, but at the same time respect others for their stance, because at the end of the day, that's what's great about this country, is that we could have that difference in thought and still be able to freely do so.
Our friendship is a testament to this. I firmly believe that Backstreet Boys were the best boy band. And Don, I know that you adamantly believe that NSYNC was superior.
Negative.
You do. I know
New
that's
edition.
your opinion. And Joey, I understand you're a 98 Degrees guy, but look at us. Here we are at the same table, enjoying some iced tea.
Right. Breaking bread.
That's right.
Well, I will say
it's possible, ladies and gentlemen.
Best boy band ever. Probably ever was Jackson 5, and then after that would be New Edition. So
there you go.
Let's go on the record and state that today.
I'll have to support you, man. We did Jackson 5 as a halftime show in high school band.
You were in band?
There you go.
Conway was really good.
Well,
so I was at Lincoln actually.
Yeah. Because you were in college. Lincoln wasn't very good.
All 30.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I hear you. All 35 of us in the whole band, right?
Wow.
Yeah. I was out there in my football pads, man, marching on the drum line.
There you go.
Oh, I always wanted to be on the drum line. That's so cool.
That's cool.
So Joey, I'll see you at Lowe's.
There you go.
Sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably in the gardening. I got to get some mums. Do you guys do mums?
Oh yeah.
Do you kill them as quickly as I do?
You know what? We're generally very good at killing plants.
All right.
But I've gotten worse in the last year or two.
I'm laughing. My wife, she gets a fern every year, and them poor things just don't make it. So shout out to Dogwood Literacy, where we recently picked up some mums. So our front porch is decorated.
All right. Thanks so much, Joey. And Don, always fun chatting with you.
Yes.
Catch us next time on Honor the Past, Plan for the Future.